Bruce's big call Dinar Intel Thursday night June 19, 25. Listen to the full version on the official DinarReport.com website and become our supporter on Patreon. Welcome everybody to the big call tonight. It's Thursday, June 19th, otherwise known as Juneteenth, and thanks everybody for tuning tonight. We've got a really good call, I think, for you tonight. I know I'm excited about what I have and what Sue has, and I know I'll be excited about what Bob has to share tonight. I really enjoyed Tuesday night's call. I thought it was really good, very fun, very enlightening all the way around. Let's do this. Let's pray the call in. Alright, let's see where we stand now from our Intel point of view. Let's talk, first of all, about the USN and USD, our new currency, our new USTN, United States Treasury note. Notice, there's no Federal Reserve in that. The Fed is out of the way, fortunately, and the USN is just the short designation of it that is used on the bank screens to designate the currency. And the value, so USN, USTN, I consider it as physical money, physical notes that we're going to be keeping in a wallet or money clip with your purse. Okay, that's what those are. And they say United States Treasury note on them, and those have been printed for over 2 years, at least. Maybe 2.5 by now, and they're in the banks and the redemption centers for us in the redemption center, shrink wrapped. Probably in amounts of 1,000. I don't know if they've got 2,500 or 5,000 in a separate, shrink wrap, or if they're all just 1,000 shrink wraps. And you just get 2, 3 or 4 or 5 of those, in the redemption center, and that'll come off of your balance. It's not free. You get it out of your exchange balance. Alright, so what about that? Yesterday, Wednesday, we had confirmation of what we had received early morning. Early, and what came in was a thing that came in an email from one of our sources that said that we would have. That they had passed the Genius Act, like Genius. The Genius Act was about, there were 2 ways I looked at this. The information that we got from a source said that this act would create the ability to have a new currency. A new money that was asset-backed by gold and silver, and that this would be thing that was voted on and actually passed in the Senate yesterday. Then we go from there as a bill. The Genius Act as a bill would go to House, that piece backwards, usually the House and then the Senate first, and then the House for final approval, and then it would become law. What's interesting about is this time in all of these years that we've had any reference to a new currency for us. And it actually gave credit back to President John F. Kennedy, because before he was assassinated, guess what? He was trying to put us back on the gold standard. May not use gold standard as a term to describe this new money for us, but it is backed by assets, some of which are gold and silver. You might add palladium, you might add platinum, you could add oil, you could add natural gas. There are several asset classes that can be used to back the value of a country's currency. This was passed, and I had confirmation on this information that I received in the morning. I had confirmation in the afternoon on Newsmax. The difference was that Newsmax did not focus on gold or silver assets backing the currency. It focused on XRP, the crypto coin backing our currency. And we know that XRP is a cryptocurrency, a crypto coin, is backing the digital value of our USN digitally. So there is a combination of gold-backed crypto coins, and I think XRP is just one of them. I know Bitcoin is another one. Ethereum is another one. And there are 2 others, and they'll all probably be used in combination as a backing for our USN currency and USTN money. Let's just call it that way, money that the actual foldable paper class, money that we carry. Alright, so that was a big move. Now we also heard that that would be accomplished, and I look forward to this making its way all the way to, I don't know that the House is going to vote on it quite yet. They may tweak it, you know how they are. They can't just pass something like it is. They've got to try to add something to it, or take something away from it. Or modify it somehow, or whatever it is, it's in the hand of the House representatives to do something with it and pass it on through. Alright, now that kind of talks about our money. Let me see what else we want to talk about. Let's talk about, okay, here's another situation. Sort of related to it. We know of a few people that were in the process of buying gold in a big way, large amounts. And they're working through a couple of our paymasters that we know, and it ends up that they made a decision to switch their buy, which was $500 million from gold to silver. And this was transacted at Wells Fargo in Miami, and it was said, make sure you have all your work in by 6 p.m. Friday. That's make sure it's all in. Well, they got it, but they were told to him, because their confirmation of the buy was to take place at 6:30 p.m. tomorrow evening. And so that's what's happening. That's just a separate story, but something that's related to, and I think the timing is interesting. Why by 6 p.m. tomorrow? I've heard from one of our sources that something might happen for us after 6 p.m. tomorrow. And then we heard from another source from Iraq that we would be looking for a surprise from this individual Saturday morning at 9 Eastern. So it's pointing toward a Friday night into Saturday something. Now, I think that something should point to us in the notification of our emails for the toll-free number's 800 number. That we will call set up for appointments right now is pointing to a Saturday, Sunday notification period that actually could extend into Monday. Single quote. So I'm thinking Saturday, Sunday or Monday of this coming weekend, and then Monday we should be receiving our emails with the 800 number on it. As soon as we get the 800 and verify, we will put it on, and we'll also send out a green email to everybody who has sent in their email address and registered it on bigcalluniverse.com. Now that's pointing towards Saturday, Sunday or Monday. And exchanges, I've been told, should be very early this week. I don't know if that means Sunday or Monday. I think both days are even possible. Even Sunday is possible. So we'll see what that looks like. It might be. We don't do anything until Monday and Tuesday, but I do feel good about the fact that they're talking about this going over the weekend. Rates have not been on redemption center screens. Let's see through yesterday. I don't know if they are back up yet. My belief is that we'll get all new rates then on Sunday evening, after the Forex reopens, and they may come up beforehand. They might come up on the bank screens and redemption center screens before the Forex opens at 5 p.m. Sunday. So we have to keep an eye out for that. As you guys know, I always get some information late, either Thursday or Friday or Saturday, giving some new opportunity to see where we actually are. But I think what you guys are interested in and what it might be that we don't know what it's going to be Saturday morning. But we know that the dinar has been put out in Iraq at a rate, and it's gone up about $1, it's coming up again about $1, it may interact. I'm talking in country, not our race. What it looks, maybe it's a further revaluation of Iraq dinar, and for the first time, everybody globally will actually see it. Because even though we've said it's international, this and that, if out, I'm not so sure. I think they've kept it from us. Now, some of our bank screens have had it. Our redemption screens have had it. But not everybody has access to that. We're fortunate enough to be able to get access to that occasionally. And we know what it is, we know it's reading. This is where we are looking for the proof of the pudding when it comes out to rates. We know that let's get into this for a minute. What about Iran? Iran's currency came off the screens either Monday or Tuesday. I believe it was Monday it came off. It was on the redemption center screen. I know roughly what it was worth, but they've taken it off, at least temporarily. Doesn't mean it won't go back up, come back on, But what's happening with Iran? As you guys know, there's been back and forth between Israel and Iran. And Israel started this last wave as a preemptive way to try to reduce the possibility of Iran having a nuclear weapon and to weaponize missiles and bombs with a nuclear warhead, and we've heard this for 15 or 20 years, but they're close to getting a nuclear weapon. They're close, they're weak, they're months away, they're weeks away. We heard they were days away. I'm not so sure they're that close. Different opinions from different fucking heads and different experts that really do know going on, but I can tell you this. President Trump said that he would wait until last minute to make a decision about using B-2 bombers and a bunker-busting bomb. You take more than one. Now this is my opinion. Now, I think he's very patient, and has said that it might take him up to 2 weeks to make a decision about that. He wants to wait for every available bit of information to come in. He said because things change, and they do change. And then he can make a more informed decision on whether to go or not to go. There's all kinds of opinions out there on to do it or not to do. Why I believe President Trump wants to prevent war, not engage in it. I believe he is more in favor of Iran and the Ayatollah Khomeini to give it up and step down and basically change the form of government they have. We are not in the business, but I do know this much: they did exactly work for. They decided to put something together, to go over a possible peace plan or a surrender of some description. They did put that together. And yesterday, he was going to fly from Iran to Qatar. And that was changed, and then instead, they were routed to for peace talks. Now there's a delegation from Iran. There's a delegation from a lot of people in to go over this and talk about this. Russia and China, too. I believe so. The point is, I believe that Khomeini will make a decision, hopefully to make a regime change or same face somehow and accept some retooled version of a peace plan that would allow a new form government. Which we're talking Republic of Iran, similar to Republic of Iraq, their next door neighbor, to come in and have a new form of government with a parliament like Iraq which has president. And or prime minister like Iraq has. I believe we're looking at something and I'm looking forward to that for Iran. You know, the Iranian people are fine people, it's the caliphate, it's the extremism that is dangerous, and nobody in the Middle East wants them in either. Nobody wants Iran, as they currently are, to exist. They're all in favor of a regime change. It's not just us and it's not just Israel. So the reason I'm bringing this up is I believe we could have a decision Ayatollah Khomeini quick, possibly even tomorrow. So let's see what that turns into. You know, we're very patient. We've been too patient in some ways, but I know President Trump does not want us to be at war, and he's going to do everything he can to make a deal. Because he's make a deal to transition Iran, and do you know what he said yesterday? Sometimes President Trump said, make money, not war. Remember in the 60s, we said, make love, not war, to take off on that make money, not war. He's showing Iran their potential and what they could do, you know. And giving them financial opportunity and trade and everything that they would want in that new world. So let's for that belief, to see that future, because, God willing, the direction we're going in now, how does that affect us? If we see, let's say, tomorrow, by tomorrow, sometime I think it allows everything to go forward under the current timeline. I know that is what President Trump wants. He wants us to roll out Nasara between, let's call it now and July 4th in its entirety. The new currency, the USA, the RNR, will have that at the redemption center. Doge payments are coming out. Increase in social may or may not happen this month. I know it's already happened for somebody made out on Monday, and it was a nice, huge. That was on a Monday, not on Wednesday yesterday. So I don't know. It's just one of those anomalies. So I don't know, maybe we will get that increase this month. You know, what's today? The 19th, 11 or 12 days to go in the month, yeah, so we'll see what happens on that. But I know President Trump wants this well underway before the 4th of July. I think we're going to get some announcements on the 4th that will be part of the Nasara. So we'll see what happens. I don't want to say or get not all, but I know we need to move on this thing with Iran. Toward peace, toward the elimination of their nuclear capability. That ain't gonna happen under President Trump? No nuclear weapon. Alright, so that's everything I wanted to bring in terms of intel. So looking forward to it, guys, really thank you for listening. Alright, I know I'm going on and on. Let's go ahead and pray the call out. Have a great weekend, let's see what happens. I'm expecting some good things, starting probably Saturday, maybe Sunday. We'll see how it goes. Okay, keep an eye on your emails and get in touch with Sue. Okay, thanks so much. God bless you guys. Tonight, listen to the full version on the official DinarReport.com website and become our supporter on Patreon. Source: DinarRecaps.com.